Welcome to Generación Latina. I'm here, your host, Carolina Peña, and I have two young ladies to introduce to you tonight. They are very accomplished, and I think they have a very bright future ahead of them. They're also very interested in topics of race and diversity and ethnicity and issues of social justice, which is something that I consider not only very important, but I think it's crucial for Latino youth to be involved in these issues as they affect our own population. I have the pleasure of introducing you to Lucia and Natalia Campos.
Hello.
Lucia, thank you so much for being here. Natalia as well. They are sisters, and they are both students at Blair High School. Now, girls, tell me a little bit about yourselves. Also, not only the fact that we already know you go to Blair High School, but your heritage and why you guys are here.
Okay, so I'm Lucia Campos. I'm 17 years old. I go to Montgomery Blair High School. We are Salvadoran. I'm here today because I won a scholarship from the Hispanic Youth Heritage Award for Education. I had applied for education and community service, but I won it for education. And Carolina Peña saw me there speaking.
Great. And Natalia, I actually have met you a couple times now, so tell me a little bit about you.
I go to Blair also, and I'm a sophomore. And we actually met from the Hispanic Youth Caucus. Congressional Hispanic Caucus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was one of the people who was invited from my school. Several kids come from all different schools in Montgomery County, and I was one, and then that's where we met. And I got invited from my counselor because I guess it was a leadership thing. So I ended up there, and that's how we met. And then we reunited at my sister's award ceremony.
And let me just say, Natalia, of course, your counselor chose you for a reason. You stand out as a leader, and that's exactly what I saw in you when you're in the middle of this auditorium filled with really important people, including Timothy Geithner and all our congressional leaders who are Latino, and you were one of the students out of a group of 50 who stood up and asked a question, and I really immediately noticed some leadership ability in you. So that's the reason why you both are here. And just so you know, I mean, I think that you both are an example to Latino youth. I hope you know that, and I hope you realize that you right now have an opportunity to make an impact really in everything you do, right? So going back to that, going back to making a difference, this is something that you've done now for some time, and specifically you've used your interests in social justice, right? So talk a little bit about that, your involvement in your school like that.
Well, for 4 years in my school, including this year, I've been a part of Diversity Workshop, which is an after-school club that meets once a week, that has an awkward conversation about race, brings up discrimination issues, prejudice, stereotypes, generalizations that happen amongst youth today in the school, among your peers, in your community. We have workshops during the year presenting these issues. May it be to teachers, with students, in classes. So we have different workshops, activities in the whole workshop that last about 3 hours, discussing discrimination and how that makes you feel. Just really an awkward conversation about race, because that's a touchy issue for a lot of people, and people don't realize that things that they might say or their actions could be prejudice. I don't want to say racist, but it could be prejudice, and people don't realize the effect that it can have on certain people.
Give me an example. What's a common act of discrimination that you see in your school?
Okay, well, for me, when people say you talk like a race, how can you talk white? How can you talk Spanish or Latino or Hispanic? How can you talk black? That to me, that's just, how can you speak like a race? That just doesn't make sense to me. And I understand the point that people are trying to come across, but what is that saying about the whole race or ethnicity when you're saying that? I strongly disagree with that. Or when teachers, or security guards stop you in the hallway because you hang out with certain people, or you're dressed a certain way, or your skin is a certain color. I don't agree with that. Or you're picked on more because of that.
Because you look a certain way.
Exactly.
Interesting. And I think you're bringing up a really key player in all this, who are teachers, you know, who have a position of authority and ability to recognize these injustices as they happen in the classroom and correct it right there. And often they don't, and sometimes they're guilty of it. You're right.
My freshman year, we did a workshop with the teachers. So it was about 45 teachers, I want to say, and we were like the panel. So we got up front, and we spoke, and we said all the little discriminatory things that were happening to us in the classroom. For example, when you walk into an AP class, I remember somebody else that was in diversity workshop had said, you know, a teacher said, "Are you sure you're in the right class?" She was a minority. So I mean, I just don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Natalia, now, you know, you're more involved in right now this program called Student Emerging Leaders Program. You've already talked about and mentioned that the program chooses students, 2 out of every school in the county, to participate. So if there's 25 high schools in the county, the program then has 50 students, and you're all invited to attend the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute's legislative conference, which then spears everybody into an issue, something that they're interested in. Now, in that conference, tell me how, you know, how that conference was for you. I mean, obviously it's a conference full of really important politicians and individuals in government and in the community. What did you see? What did you observe? And then what did you gain from that conference to then get you to write a paper? Not just a paper, it's a mock legislation that you're working on right now.
I thought the experience was very interesting, like going there and seeing that, because first I didn't expect it to be that way. I thought it was going to be like all students, but I don't know why I thought that. But then we got to see a lot of interesting people, and we went to different rooms. We got to choose different topics of the rooms that we wanted to see, and then we heard different people talk. And
some of the topics, for example, are you know, the U.S. Census. You have
the job
Latinos
crisis.
and unemployment, right? The job crisis, education,
Yeah.
healthcare. So topics that are right now really important to our Latino community. And you chose?
I chose the Latinos and the census, the job crisis, and it was one more, but I don't remember what it was. But it was very interesting to go to, and just to get to see all the different topics and like the different conversations that the other adults had that were there, and just to be involved in that was really good. And then we had all went back to the big room, and then it was people got awards and that type of stuff, and then we had to write a paper, a mock legislation paper. And at first it was kind of hard for me to choose what I wanted to write about, because it's just so many topics that interest me. But I started off writing about just immigration, period, and then I ended up in the DREAM Act and how that would be so important here.
So, and just to recap, in a sense, you had the opportunity to listen in the most current conversation about some of these national issues, right, of importance, of priority. And these are the leaders. These are the people that are solving these issues with the president, with Congress. So you listen in on this, and then, you know, you kind of leave there inspired to write something that a congressman and congresswoman, actually Congresswoman Donna Edwards and Congressman Van Hollen, will both get to read your paper. So it kind of puts, you know, some pressure on you, but at the same time, it's like, how many high school students get to write something that you know, a representative in Congress will read, and then maybe even act on, right, if it's compelling enough. So I think it's fascinating, and the fact that you wrote about the DREAM Act is absolutely current. This will actually be in discussion in Congress this week or next week. So I think, you know, there's just like a lot of relevancy to what you're doing, and it has a lot of importance. So even though you're a sophomore student, I mean, that's huge, right? You're participating in politics in a way. Let's go now back to you. And we talked about, you know, the issues of diversity that you're interested in. Where do you see yourself going with this in your future?
I know that, well, right now, I know that in college I want to study social work maybe urban studies, but something in that field, because there's just so many jobs available, and it's just work that I'm interested in. So I feel that diversity is relevant to everything today in the world, because it is. To me, it's just self-explanatory. But so that's what I would like to do.
Yeah, and it's great because it's, in a sense, you know, you see yourself interested in this one area, and this could go in so many different ways. You could be working with a city in an urban setting. You could be working with families. You could be working in a corporation, right, that needs people that advise in issues of diversity.
Exactly, yeah. It's just so many ways you can go with it.
Exactly. And you're applying right now to schools, so...
Yes, I've turned in 3 applications. Fordham University in the Bronx, New York, DePaul University in Chicago, and American University in Washington, D.C.
Great. So we wish you a lot of luck with that.
Thank
I know
you.
you're going to get into probably all 3 of them. And if they're smart, they'll take you in with a full scholarship. So
I hope.
you're going to do great. Another thing that you know, we were talking about is your scholarship, right, with the Hispanic Heritage Youth Award, and that scholarship, which was a good $3,000, right? So first of all, congratulations for that. I was involved with that organization. I received that scholarship as well. So for me, it's kind of like, you know, okay, the next generation, you know, moving up and getting and achieving. So it's really, really important for that. So thank you. Thank you for setting an example. We're going to be right back. We're going to continue talking about some of these issues and, again, more about what these girls are doing. They're just so involved and in issues that are so, so important to us today. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Mom, I'm not going to go to college.
What are you saying? You've got to go to college.
Well, they offered me a job and...
Son, college is much more important.
No.
Yes.
No, Mom.
Yes.
Anyways, it's my decision.
Okay, well then decide what degree you're going to get, because you will go to college.
Their tomorrow depends on your words today. The Hispanic Scholarship Fund has the information you need to help your kids go to college.
Welcome back to Generación Latina, and I want to talk to you all a little bit about what does it take to succeed in high school. And I think our 2 guests today have demonstrated that. They have, I think, the drive, the strategy, right, to get it done. But I think their example, and I think just seeing like what they're doing, what they've done, where they're going, I think is going to be really important for us as we talk about, you know, strategies for success. So you both have been very involved. You were also taking very challenging classes, right? We were talking about some AP classes that are, you know, we're struggling with, which is normal. So before we get into some of the other activities you guys have done, how do you handle all that pressure in school, you know, from your involvement, classes, all that?
I guess you really have to find a balance. And I know everybody says that, and it's hard. But I mean, I think I didn't start caring about school until maybe 11th grade year. I was doing it for my mother, so I wouldn't be in trouble with her, you know, getting good grades so I can do what I wanted and stuff like that. But I think it was like 11th grade year, it really hit me like, this is just the first step. Money is the motive for me. I need to go to college because that's the way I'm going to make more money. I want to have a job that I love, that I enjoy going to. That's so important in life. And that starts in high school, from getting those grades and getting accepted to a good college and stuff like that. So, and when you go to college, get your master's, your bachelor's, your PhD, all that stuff, you'll be making more money.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big motive for me. Studying was very important. I'm not that good of a studier, to be honest with you. I always did very bad on tests. But get your homework done. 40% of your grade is formative classwork. 50% is summative, which is tests and stuff like that. And 10% is your homework grade. If you do that whole 10% of your homework, and homework doesn't even have to be correct, as long as you try and your teachers see that you put the effort in, that if your grade is a D or a C in the class, that 10% can boost it up to a C or a B. It boosts your grade up by 10%, and that sounds like a little bit, but it can help a lot if you're struggling in the formative or the summative area. So I think doing my homework really helped me. even if I didn't always understand it or get it right. And I think study groups, that's very important, because sometimes you can't understand what the teacher says and in their language, but when another student is explaining it to you, it's much more clearer, and in that way. I've also learned that I'm a hands-on person, that, you know, being out in the community and doing community service or diversity workshop was something I enjoy doing. And that can help also if your grades aren't the best, you know, when you have a resume of things that you've done and stuff like that. All those things are key to getting further.
Yep.
People will be impressed by that. So
Exactly.
and especially if you enjoy doing it, it's good.
Absolutely agree with you. Natalia, what about you?
Well, for me, I agree with the balance thing. I think that over the years, I've learned that if you do what you're supposed to do, you could do what you want to do. This is not always a situation, but for me, like, I don't know, like homework was always something that I never really wanted to do. Like, I would always save it to the last moment. Like, my mom and my sister would always be like, why are you always procrastinating, doing this? Like, and then my sister would always be like, why don't you just do it? Get it over with. I'm like, you're not my mom. Don't tell me what to do. But I think that was something very important. Like, just balancing out everything. Like, not even if you don't like to have a certain schedule for things, just come home, do your homework, and then go out and hang out with your friends if you want, or set a certain time. And like, I personally do most of my homework at school or on the bus. I just try to get it out of the way, so it's like I don't have to leave it to the last moment.
Yeah. It's like if you don't like doing something, just get it over with, right?
Exactly.
And like get on to other things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. I think that also I learned, like even this year, I think I really learned that at home it's more harder for me to concentrate because I have the computer that distracts me, other stuff. But after school, like being in your own library, the librarians, like yesterday, I should have known this a long time ago, but they had tutors at our school during lunchtime that can help you. I mean, that one-on-one attention really helps me more.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're getting your own questions answered. That's not someone else's.
But also, I think it's really important to be able to balance out stuff and do good in school. Is just to have like a good teacher. Like this year, I have some really good teachers. Like they make learning so current, I guess. They try to put everything to a current situation, and that really makes me understand it. Like I take several classes that I really enjoy. Like this year I can say I really like all my classes. There might be one class that I don't like, but I won't say what it is. But
and last year she hated school.
yeah, I think that just trying and having a positive attitude about it. Like you hear so many kids saying, oh, I hate school. And this was me last year. I can't even lie. Like, I would be like, oh, I don't want to go to school. And this being so negative just makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes you just think like, okay, I really don't want to be here. Why? What's the point in trying if I don't want to be here? But if you just think positive, like, this is what's going to influence my future. This is going to help me to take more steps forward, that it's just like, just be positive about it. And it will really be better. Like, I really balance out now, and now I'm on the basketball team, so it's like it's harder now, but we're gonna have study hall and stuff, so I think I'm gonna balance everything out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I think, I cannot even add to that. I mean, I think everything you guys have said is great. Now back to, having that balance, right? So you're working hard and studying. You're also, you're doing a lot more even than we've already talked about, right? So you talked about, well, let's just continue on with you. And and you work with City at Peace.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, basically, City at Peace is a youth development program, and some people will call it an acting program, but because we act in there too. So basically, we learn about sexism, racism.
All the isms.
Yeah, all the isms, and like violence and how it affects us in our community and how it just plays a role in our life. And also we learn about just different stuff, like oppression is one of the biggest topics, like how we get oppressed by all the power groups. For example, like how women get oppressed by men, or how certain people get oppressed by other people, just like that. And then we learn about all this stuff, and then we do scene work on how this stuff affects us personally. So over the course of the year, we write our own play, and basically everybody tells their life story and how all this stuff is affecting us. and we write our own play. So the program starts in August or September, and it ends in June, but our play is in May, April or May.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so last year, this is my second year in the program, and last year we wrote a play about, it's actually a musical too because we sing and stuff. So, and some people, we dance, but it's not like, if you could sing, then you sing by yourself, but if you can't, then you just sing as a group. So the play was basically about 5 kids who broke the status quo, and they get put on trial.
Okay.
So,
what was the status quo?
Basically just continuing the normal stuff. Like for example, if somebody gets abused, they just think it's okay. If somebody doesn't trust somebody, they just continue on with the cycle. If somebody got raped, then they think it's normal, but it's not. So basically, these kids stepped out of the box and tried to change these situations. So, or make it better, like talk about it and stuff.
Yep.
So basically, they broke the status quo and they get put on trial. So I was the defense attorney, and then it was actually a musical. So they had us doing musical pieces and stuff.
Wow.
So basically, each kid got played out their scene. Like one kid, his father put him down all the time, like just really put him down. One of the kid, another one that was on trial, mother was very sick, and other kids got like sexually assaulted or raped, and it was other stories, just how all this stuff affects us. And basically they tried to break the status quo by like having, like talking about it, or trying to make it, even though it's not positive situations, just trying to work around it instead of thinking it's normal.
Right.
Yeah. So basically at the end of the play, people would think